Good to hear. Hey, I've got local legend Dan O'Day joining me today. And so if you want to hear what he has to say, you join us right after this. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Man, I'm glad you came to see me.
Well, I'm glad you showed up. I know that you're trying to pound like me. You're trying to pound 75 pounds of sand in a 50-pound bag.
That's kind of right. It got away from me today. Thanks for waiting on me. I do appreciate that.
Okay.
But, in case there's anybody that doesn't know who you are.
Well, I'm sure there are tens of thousands.
I mean, I've been listening to you on local radio around here ever since I was a little kid. So not to,
Well, I am 77.
Okay, that's fair then.
But I feel like I'm 57.
Yeah, that's good for you. So, yeah, radio legend. Tell us a little bit about that. Or we can just read about it.
It's in the book.
It's in the book.
Mrs. O'Malley down in the valley suffered from ulcers, I understand. You remember that book?
I don't remember that book, yeah.
Well, Google it or go to Spotify or whatever and look. It's in the book. That's the name of it.
Okay, very good.
It was a comedy song out of the 1950s.
I see. Well, tell us about that.
Well, Malcolm Huckready and I were competitors from 1976 to 1999. We worked at different radio stations here in Springfield. And since they're no longer here, I can be direct. When Journal Broadcasting bought Great Empire Broadcasting, which I thought was the greatest company in the history of ever, I worked for them from 1972 to 1999. I'll be as direct as I can. They just weren't, I'm from Pottersville, Missouri, and they just weren't my kind of people. Not that, for crying out loud, they own Milwaukee, every sports facility there. They are a legendary radio station. But I just felt uncomfortable with them because they were too big. And that, in my opinion, is the undoing of many of the broadcast facilities in the country, but I'm happy to say that the one I'm still involved with is not. We're as local as we can get. And, so Malcolm and I worked together from 1999 until I retired in 2010. And then one thing led to another. And about 2016 or 17, Malcolm said, why don't we write a book? And he said that to John Kimmons and me. And John, of course, has been on a number of stations and is now in the O'Reilly team. He works for the O'Reilly company. Brilliant programmer. And so one thing led to another, and what occurred is that Malcolm developed this idea that is in the foreword of the book about how history is stories.
His story.
High story or history.
Right.
And he got his inspiration when someone shared with him the story, a history of World War II that were told in story. So what this book is, despite all we did not write the book. We did not. And it's probably misnamed. It should be Reminiscence of History of Radio, because we have 49 people that goes back to, I believe, Al Patterson, who's still alive and kicking and doing very well here in Springfield. He's 91 years young. He started out as a salesperson at K-I-C-K.
K-I-C-K, yeah, I remember it well.
And one thing led to another, and he and Malcolm became friends, and that got Malcolm into the radio business. And Malcolm and I started contacting people to be involved with our story. And the book is, some of it is interviews, some of it is biographical, some of it is autobiographical. And some of it is simply, I did this, and it's just, bare bones. But there are certain stories in it that I'm so proud of it. The very first one, which is the story of John Stevens, as told by his daughter, Holly Atkinson. It's a story of her dad and how he got hired by Kurt Brown and Don Paul. And I can't read it without getting, I'm sorry, hey, I'm an old man. I can't read it without getting a bit teary-eyed.
Well, I know as I looked through the book, I've had the opportunity to peruse it a little bit. I just went from chapter heading to chapter heading and saw name after name that I was familiar with and remembered from growing up here, and these were the guys that I was listening to on the radio.
But it's also a contemporary history, Will.
Yeah.
I believe there's 18 people. I believe there's 18 people that are, to this day, daily involved with the broadcast business. Mike the intern, John Sellers, and all of a sudden, 77-year-old brain goes, oh. But the Luzators, Don and Chris. And sorry, folks, I can't remember all the names at once, but. And then there's general managers and managers, Kurt Boney, news people. I don't know if, this is one of the people that I barely remember from my time here in the late 60s. Father Harry.
No, that's before my time.
Yeah, well, Father Harry was a Catholic priest that lived in Springfield and was on KICK. And he would do, that was back in the days of the Mod Squad.
Yeah.
And he had a program where he talked to teens, because Kick's audience at the time was primarily teens, and he called it the God Squad. Well, he left Springfield, and lo and behold, the thing went national. He was on dozens, hundreds perhaps, of radio stations. And and then there's Jim Bohannon.
Yes.
That started in Lebanon and worked for KICK and KWTO. And then went on to went in the Army about the same time I did. Our careers are not parallel, but they are similar. And then, as his story tells, the next thing you know, he had a syndicated radio show. He substituted for Larry King on radio and television.
Yeah. And
then he had. And that program is still on. It's called America in the Morning, and great show. He's fun. He was a funny man, and unfortunately, he and Father Harry passed away about the same time last year in August.
Now, you're in town to promote the book.
Yes,
right?
I am.
Yes. So let's talk about that.
Well, Cedric Randall,
Yes.
one of the fellows that's been around radio here in town for a long time, is still active. On the Christian radio station.
Yes, that's right.
And on the FM. He suggested a book signing. And I thought, oh my goodness, we got 49 authors. And I said, why not give it a try?
Yeah.
And I know of a lot of people coming to a book signing, but I don't know if anyone has come to a book signing where you have 36 people who are going to sign the book.
How cool.
And we may even contact the Guinness Book of World Records.
That might be the thing.
And but we have the list is right now 36 people. I know that not all of them are going to be able, but we have, yes, I'll do my best. And let me grab this little piece of paper here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have 15 people that we've contacted today. And after we're done here, I'll contact the rest of them and just say, be sure and bring a Sharpie, and we'll provide you one, and be at the Fox Theater at no later than 1:30. Pardon me as I squirrel. We got with John Sellers, who is now manager emeritus of the History Museum on the square. And we made an arrangement that he would store our books there, and that's where you can get it. And it will never, if John will let us, it'll never leave the shelves there. It'll
So
always
that's
be
the
there.
History Museum, downtown Springfield on the square.
Yes, and the old Barth building for those people that remember
Yep.
it.
That's one place to get the book. Is that where the book signing is?
That's no. Well, the book signing is next door at the Fox
Next door at the
Theater
Fox
because we
Theater.
couldn't put enough people. We couldn't.
Sure.
If we had everybody there
Yeah.
that is wanting to come. So what we've done is that we'll have some people out in the lobby, and we'll have a credit card scanner there, and then we'll have people also down in basically in front of the stage, and they'll have a name tag, little name tag like so,
Right.
and then the page number of where they are, so
Yeah.
that someone who wants to have it signed, well, Dan O'Day, you're on page 36, and
good.
and that sort of thing.
And what time does that start?
It starts at 2 o'clock. We don't have any idea how long it will last
Sure.
because literally we don't know how long we'll have people there.
Right.
We hope it's a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we will, the book will cost $25 there. Significant portion of that goes to the museum. And then after that, we'll keep, thanks to John, we'll keep that. You can buy it on Amazon. We prefer that you use that as a last resort if you're in Stumpsuck, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Because Amazon gets kind of pricey in what they
Yeah,
charge
they
you.
take a good chunk, don't they?
They do. Or you can just simply contact me, look me up on Facebook, or, yeah, that'd probably be the best way. Just
Yep.
look at my Facebook page and PM me, and we can, through the magic of 21st century technology, we can scan your card and we'll drop ship you a book.
Yeah, and if you can't find him, you can get to me, and I'll get you to him. And
Bless your heart.
We'll
Thank
make
you.
that
I
connection.
appreciate that.
But, so we've got the book signing tomorrow at 2.
Yep.
Fox Theater downtown. Get the book, preferably contact you through Facebook.
Well, no, right now, preferably
Go to the
thing
go to the
tomorrow
signing.
because
Go to the signing. But if you-
we really owe that to John.
Yeah.
We've sold a number of books through John and, of course, through our own efforts. And that puppy was, cut to the chase when you, well, think of I'm sorry.
You got a phone call coming.
I got a phone call. I should have, that's my dogs. I'll turn that off. The miracle of television.
Yeah. Live TV. to boot.
Live TV to boot. That's funny. Where was it? Squirrel?
No, we were talking about come to get the book.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Fox
Yeah.
Theater, 2 o'clock.
And we'll do that. We'll do that signing, and then if they contact me, we'll get that.
Yep.
We'll get basic line. We want to make sure that we do our, for lack of a better, I'll call it a moral responsibility to John because he's been really good in helping us here. As have you. Thank you for
Well,
putting us on.
happy to do it. Thanks for coming in. Any parting words you want to share before we sign off here?
Well, there are 49 people that are involved in this program, and I'm realizing how old I look. I have a face for television. I have a face for radio.
Me too.
But I think if you read it, you'll remember, or you'll know. Oh, that's who Mike the intern is.
Yeah.
Because I think there's 18 or 19 of the people. It's a current history and ancient history. My story in Springfield goes back to 1966.
Well, volume 2 to come then, it sounds like.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. All right. Thanks for joining me today, Dan.
Thank
It's good
you.
to have you. Good to see you
Thank
again.
you.
And don't forget, go see him tomorrow, live, Fox Theater, 2 p.m. We'll be back. Thanks.
Peace.